excited to hand it over to Jeannie to let her introduce herself, because I think reading bios is like the most awkward thing in the world. I don't like having mine read. And then if I try to read it, I butcher it. So and Jeannie's such a fabulous storyteller. You all hearing her experience and how she got here will be much better coming from her. So Jeannie, please take it away. And thanks again for being here.
Oh, thank you, Amy, for having me. I so appreciate it. And like we said earlier, if you haven't grabbed a pen and paper, please do. You're going to need it for some homework. I was a teacher for a lot of years, but it's also the best way to learn and get involved. And you want that learning to stay with you. And so the magic combination is within 24 hours, if you review for 10 minutes for 7 days, you have 80% of your learning is retained. So I'm hoping that you'll take some notes. I'm hoping that you'll get involved. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up my PowerPoint, and we're going to go ahead and get started. And bear with me just a second here. Wrong button. Let's try this again. There we go. And we are going to play some music, and I'm going to ask you to get out of your seat for just a moment. Live will never be live. Live will never be the same. What is going on? Are you moving? What is on your mind? Are your feelings gone? Need to see it clear. Where do we go? Why are you doing things? All the things you do. Life will never be the same. Life is changing. Life. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about myself. And I think the most important thing is that whatever you decide you want to create, you absolutely can. You see, as a young girl, I was told that I would never, ever make it through school. I was too stupid. I had so many learning disabilities, struggled. And I realized that it was the absolute perfect thing for them to say to me. Because at the time, it was tough, it was hard, it was difficult. But then I realized now looking back that it was the perfect thing because it ticked me off. I was like, you don't decide, I decide. I decide where I'm going. I decide who I am. And so by taking that and moving forward with it through the struggles, through the difficulties, I was able to make it through. And as you can see, I've done some pretty cool things. I feel very, very blessed. I'm now working on my third book. We just got it back from the editor. And each time it comes back from the editor, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just becoming an incredible book that's really going to help some people change their lives. I've also been on TV. I've also been on the radio, and I've been featured in Forbes. I was like, oh my gosh. So a lot of neat things happened, all because that little girl decided not to believe the labels that were put on her and to move forward anyways. And that's what I want to inspire you today to do. What do you want to do? How do you want to show up? You see, you're currently living a lifestyle that probably has become a habit, just like walking or tying your shoes or driving to work. You do them the same way every day. It's a habit. And so by doing something over and over, we create our habits, and then our habits create us. And that's how it happens. And so you may be going, well, wait, Jeannie, I need to create a different habit. And I agree, you absolutely do. And the way this works is that it starts as a thought. You have a thought, Jeannie, I need to change something. And then that leads to an emotion. And so many people miss this part. They think it goes immediately to action or inaction. Now, I have a disclaimer. I'm going to pause for just a moment here and give you my disclaimer. And my disclaimer is, remember in elementary school when they told me I was too stupid to make it? I still have those issues. So while I'm typing something up or drawing something, guess what? I may misspell it. And so I apologize. I apologize. We just keep moving on. And if I misspell something, if you would spell it correctly in the chat, oh, that would help me a lot. So thank you. I appreciate that. Now, what happens is it starts, like I said, with a thought. So let's say you have the thought, you want to change maybe your eating habits. You want to change your eating habits. Well, that is immediately followed by an emotion. That emotion is then followed by either action or inaction. Now, if you have some things that you're wanting to change, go ahead and put them in the chat, and Amy can give a shout out to me here if we can, or I'll turn on the chat as soon as I'm done writing this. And so a thought leads to an emotion, and then it leads to action or inaction. It just kind of depends on what we're thinking. So let's walk through this a little bit. I have a thought, and that thought might be, I need to change my diet. Or we'll just say eating habits. I need to change my eating habits. Now, immediately after that, I have an emotion. And that emotion that comes up for me, because I love chocolate, that emotion that comes up for me is, I love chocolate. And so that emotion is, well, wait, I don't want to change my eating habits because I love chocolate. And then what happens is I don't change. So as you can see, it starts with the thought, then the emotion, then the action. Then if I continue to do this action, what happens then is I get to create a new habit. And that new habit, then, as I'm sure many of you may have heard, leads to a lifestyle. And then that leads to my destiny. And my destiny is where I reside. Pretty neat thought, yeah? It all starts with my thought, followed by an emotion, followed by an action. That is so important. So now, what happens after I have my thought and my emotion, and I lead to my new or my old action? What I need to remember is that when emotion is high, intelligence is low. When emotion is high, intelligence is low. So I have that thought, I need to change my eating habits, followed by the emotion of, but I love chocolate. And so I make a decision that may not always be the best. Now, if any of you, like I said, have something that you want to talk about specifically, then please let me know and go ahead and put it in the chat, and we can absolutely go through that.
I think this is a great example, Jeannie, if I might say real quickly, because I remember reading an article recently that talked about how we respond, how our intelligence responds when we are stressed. So when we become triggered in a workspace environment, for example, which is where a lot of people are experiencing a lot of triggers right now, digs at their confidence or concerns for themselves or their coworkers. They said that your IQ can drop as much as 20 points. Yes. So all of a sudden, like when you need to show up, when you feel triggered and you feel like you need to show up and you're like, I should say this, I should do that. By reading that, I learned to give myself some grace, because I was like, oh, like my brain automatically just goes into fight or flight mode, which means like my IQ is just dropped. I probably shouldn't really try to engage because I might say or do something not smart.
Right. Right. So recognizing that emotion is there then allows us to remove that emotion. We're going to go in more depth into that. How do I get rid of this emotion so I can think? And so we're going to give you some really things that you can immediately start applying today to get rid of that emotion. So absolutely, absolutely. Now, the first law of change is realizing that I need to change. So, hey, I'm working with somebody who's next to me that can trigger me. Maybe I ask if I can move where I'm sitting or move my office or maybe put a divider in between us. Right now, you have tons of dividers. All of them are clear. Maybe cover it with paper. I don't know. But start realizing I need to change. Many times I change my thoughts, I change my life. So maybe the person I'm sitting next to, triggers me, but it's because of the story I'm telling myself, not really because of what they're doing. And so I invite you to start thinking, okay, what do I need to change? And how do I want to change that? We're going to get into the how. Right now, what I want you to do is I want you to take out that pen and paper and I want you to write down what you wish was different. And we're going to just spend just about a minute on this. We're going to listen to a little bit of music. What do you wish was different? Maybe it's your weight. Maybe it's the fact that you get angry. Go ahead and put it in the chat as well. Sometimes I wish that I loved myself more, so I could treat others better. Sometimes I wish that I could just relax, let go of the guilt. Absolutely. More confidence, less fear, imposter syndrome. Amen. Absolutely. Judge myself less. Yes. Worry less. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. So we have got now what we wish was different. Now let's go through the 5 steps of change. First one, already done. Realizing what I need to change. Now you need to make the decision to change. And so what that means is right now you decide, I'm going to change. I'm going to start eating better. I'm going to start treating people better. And I'm going to start with myself. The golden rule says that do unto others as you would do unto yourself. That big part at the end that so many people forget is myself. So many times we say things to others we would never say to ourselves. Make the decision to change that. And then what action are you going to take? So I'm going to stop the negative voices in my head, that imposter syndrome. You're not impostoring, you're learning something new. And there's always a lag period. So I'm learning something new. I'm stepping into, I'm creating the new me. Make that decision and then decide what you're going to do. Are you going to get up earlier? Maybe get some exercise in the morning. Are you going to change the way you eat? Are you going to make a difference in the way you drive to work? For things to change, I must change. For things to get better, I must get better. And so then I take the new action. So I realize I need to change. I make the decision to change. I decide what action I'm going to take, and then I take the new action. And guess what? I do it over and over and over again. So many times we have to make that decision multiple times during the day. It's not just a one-time decision. Many times it's over and over. You see, habits are overcome by habit. So if I want to get rid of an old habit that is not serving me anymore, I have to create a new habit. And the way I create a new habit is to pick my new action and then continually do it until it becomes a habit. Now, this quote comes from Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich. Absolutely love it. Love that book. I've read it 4 times and I have committed. There's tons of action steps, but there's 5 main action steps. And this is the first one. And it's about knowing that I can change and then committing to that change. And it will take persistent, continuous action. And I promise here and now, that means I stick that stake in the ground and I say, I'm changing. No more negative self-talk. From now on, I will be kind to me, because as within, so without. And so if I'm negatively talking my head, guess what? That comes out my mouth towards others. And so I've got to stop the negative talk here so I can stop the negative talk out there. And as I become who I want to be, I invite others to do the same. It takes persistent, continuous action. And so I want to share with you just a moment something that I am doing. I spoke briefly about how I am changing my eating habits. And so you can see my calendar here. See all these green X's? That's every day that I have taken my new action step. Every day I've taken this new action step. And so I recommend that you do the same thing. What's your action step that you're going to do? And then now you're going to get a calendar or whatever. And every day you do it, you put a green X. And then you try not to break the chain. And then it becomes a habit. And once it becomes a habit, then you're able to pick something else new. Many times the problem is that people pick too many things to change at once, and it can be very, very overwhelming. So you pick one thing, one habit, and one action, and then it becomes doable. The best part is that it all resides on personal value. Now, this comes from my book. My very first book, by the grace of God, became a bestseller, and it is called Bully Proofing You, Improving Confidence and Personal Value from the Inside Out. Now, it was written for a high school, junior high age, just because I was a high school teacher for 17 years and I wanted to help my students reach even more people. And so I wrote the book so I could help more people. And luckily, it has now a bestseller. It's gone all around the world. I received letters, emails from people from Japan, from the UK. I've been on the radio in the UK. Just neat things have all come from that book because I had the courage to take the first step. If you don't take the first step, you will never take the step across the finish line. You've got to take that step. And it all starts with personal value, because personal value is what I believe about me. If I believe I can do it, or if maybe I just have a little bit of belief. When I first started writing my book, Bully Proofing You, I didn't believe it would become a bestseller. All I said was, if I can help one person change their life, then it's made a difference and it's been worth it. And by the grace of God, we've helped a lot more. The next part we're going to talk about is perspective. And then we're going to spend just a tiny bit on planned responses. And so, but we're going to spend most of the time on the personal value because it is the foundation. So many times, the discipline part, the willpower part comes into play in that moment of temptation. What do I want? Do I want to sleep in? My alarm goes off at 5:30 in the morning. Do I want to sleep in, or do I want to get up, do my exercises, go for my walk, and be able to put a green X on my calendar? Many times my alarm will go off, and the first thing I think is, oh my gosh, I don't want to. I don't want to get up. And then I remember my decision, my commitment, and I take my action step. That's what discipline is. Now, what I want to do is I want to say, does anybody have any questions? I'm going to open up the chat here just for a moment, and let's see if anybody has any questions. So I'm going to stop my share and see. All or nothing thinking is such a mind trap. Yeah, it is. If we get stuck in, I have to do, like just like this, okay, did I do it? Did I get up? Yeah, well, guess what? If I miss a day, what if I don't get up tomorrow on the 14th? Guess what? I can start again on the 15th. Or what if I don't get up at 5:30 because I want to sleep in? That's okay. I'll take my walk in the afternoon. The action is going for my 3-mile walk and doing my strength training. And so I have it in my schedule to do it at 5:30 in the morning. And if I didn't get up, that's okay. Jeannie, recommit and go again. So beautiful. Absolutely. Let's look at some of these
Long
other.
way, because I said there's a little bit of forgiveness and grace for yourself goes a long way. I think that we think that as soon as we decide we're going to make a change, it's a big sweeping change and it's going to happen like that. I think having tried that method for 40 years now and never really had success with it, I've realized that, it's a thing that if you can learn how to give yourself some forgiveness and not fall into that trap of guilt and shame. It's like, oh, I didn't do it this one day. I didn't track my calories. I didn't go for my walk. I didn't do the thing that I said. I didn't journal. I didn't do the thing I said I was going to do. You said it exactly. I can start again the next day. Like giving yourself a little bit of forgiveness every now and then, to me at least, has been one way to sort of break that guilt shame cycle, especially when it comes to food. Because I'm like, well, if I'm just gonna eat this, then I'm just gonna go ahead and like,
Right.
why as well eat all of it. So that all or nothing is like, it's a huge mind trap. And I think a little bit of what you're talking about too is a little bit of like cognitive behavioral therapy, which is so important. If any of you have not heard about it, I'd encourage you to read up on it. Although, Jeannie, I think you're doing a great job of kind of showing like the baseline of like what it can really do for you, understanding how your triggers and emotions and actions, every little step. It's about those little moments. It's not about the big thing. It's those little decisions you make every day that actually make the bigger picture. So I love your message on that so far.
Yeah.
Forgiveness and
And
grace. Go
it's
ahead.
just like with this. At the end of the month, do I have more green X's than white boxes?
Yeah.
And then I celebrate. I celebrate. And we as women, as people do not celebrate near enough.
Yeah.
You've got to celebrate. You may have noticed my Snoopy mug. So Snoopy is huge for me. And the reason is because when I first started transitioning from the classroom to the stage, I realized that people didn't just show up in my classes. I had to market my classes. Whereas a high school teacher, I had to go, the students were brought to me. And so I had to start marketing my classes. And I would make a phone call. And in those days, there weren't many, yeah, we'd love to have you come talk to us. And so it could be difficult. And I realized very quickly that if I didn't celebrate the fact that I took action, not just the win, that I would be out of this business so quick. And so I implemented this. Was probably about the second week I was really trying, and I was ready to quit. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do? And I love classical music. You heard some of it earlier. And I'm usually listening to classical music in my office. And George Winston started playing the Peanuts theme. And I saw that picture of Snoopy dancing all crazy because I don't have any rhythm. And I'm like, I can dance like Snoopy. And so I downloaded the theme onto my phone and I ran out into the living room and I yelled, Snoopy dance. And I started playing the music and I'm dancing around all crazy in the kitchen, in the living room. And my kids come up like, what are you doing? But they're used to me being a little bit weird. I am the crackhead, right? Meth is my last name. I'm the crackhead teacher. And so we're dancing around. And afterwards, my kids are like, what? I'm like, I made 10 phone calls. I'm going to go make some more. And I came back in my office and I made 10 phone calls. And now it was the celebration of those 10 phone calls that got me to the next 10 phone calls. I didn't say I have to book an engagement because I can't control that part. Thank you, Amy. I can't control the booking part. I can control the phone calls. Yeah. And so that's what we need to celebrate, the part that we committed to do and that we're doing. That is the important part. So I'm going to dive back into my slides here. You guys are doing amazing. Okay, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to lean slightly forward. Let me stop this for a minute. This is what I want you to do. Because, if you can't jump up and go do the Snoopy dance, you're just going to lean slightly forward, put your arm up in the air and say, I freaking rock. So do that right now. I know that a lot of you don't have your cameras on, but I want you to do it. You're going to feel a huge boost and you're going to say, I freaking rock. Yeah. Woohoo. And that helps you get going. It helps you re-engage. Because if I continue to we'll use my phone call example. If I continue to make those phone calls and I get no after no after no, my energy takes a nosedive. And then I get to the negative person in my head runs rampant. And pretty soon, all I want to do is go lay in my bed and suck my thumb. Now, that may not be you, but that's me. So I had to learn how to overcome that difficulty. And it works. It absolutely works, because the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in an outward physical action. So if my dominating thought is, I can do this, if my dominating thought is, all I got to do is make 10 more calls, if my dominating thought is, hey, all I got to do is get up and go for a walk, then I will take action. Also, if the dominating thought is, I can't do this, I don't understand, I don't know, then that negative emotion clouds my ability to think. And pretty soon I go into what I call my spin cycle, where I just fall and I roll and I wind up at the bottom of the hill. Now, it's okay. That happens sometimes. And so for 30 minutes every day, now I break this up because for me to just sit for 30 minutes is difficult. You can break it into 5-minute increments. You can break it into 10-minute increments, 15-minute increments, 1-minute increments. I don't care. But start creating in your mind the person that you want to become. Because everything starts with a thought, followed by an emotion that leads to an action. So everything, think about where you're at right now, just for a moment. Think about where you're at. In your office, in your home, whatever. This chair that I'm sitting on was somebody's thought. This office was my thought. I created it, right? I painted the walls, I brought in the furniture. And so I created this. It was a thought in my mind that then became my physical reality. The body that I'm creating by getting up and going for a walk every morning, that's a creation of my mind first. So what is it that you want to create? Maybe it's a better relationship. My husband and I have been married 18 years and 1 month today. And I love it. We're our best friends. Guess what? I was divorced 2 times before I married him. It would have been really easy for me to get, I hate marriage. I'm never going there again. That sucks. It's horrible. I could have gone there, but I didn't, because I spent time figuring out me, what I wanted, what I needed. And then I decided I will not settle, because the perfect man is out there somewhere. And if he's not, then that's okay, because I love me and I'm okay with me. I don't need somebody to complete me. I'm complete. But it's so neat having that best friend to go do things with. And it started as a thought in my mind, started as a thought that I then worked on and that I created every day. What thought do you have that's pointing you where you want to go? Go ahead again. We're going to open up the chat again. So what do you want to create? What are your thoughts? It starts here. So I want, starts with a desire. I want to, somebody said earlier, to not be triggered or to not let my buttons be pushed. I want a better relationship with whoever, fill in that line. Or I want a better relationship with me so that when someone tries to push my buttons, guess what? I've dealt with them and I don't have buttons. The reason we have buttons is because it's a sore spot. Just like when we have a bruise or a cut, somebody comes up. Okay, my brother, when I was little, if you had a bruise, he would be like, that hurt, that hurt, that hurt. You're like, ah, right? It's the same thing in our mind. We have a sore spot because somebody called us something at one time or somebody said something to us. Now it's a sore spot. I call them yuck berries. We've got to explode those yuck berries and get rid of them, clean them out. Then we don't have those triggers anymore. So what are your triggers? What are your triggers? Let's read right here, right quick. I want to create an atmosphere of calm and peace and a satisfying home experience. Oh, Janelle, I love that. Love that. I've had many friends come from all over the country to come and visit us because with getting to travel, I get to meet people from all over. And when they walk in my house, they say, I love the way I feel when I'm here. And what I did was I started thinking and I started setting that intention for my home. My home is my sanctuary. It's where people come to get love and peace and healing. It's where people can be themselves No matter how crackheadish you are, you can come here and you can be loved. And so it feels so good when people come in. So you've already started. You've made that decision. I want to create an atmosphere of calm and peace. Now decide what that is. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? And if you would like, Janelle, if you'd like, we can unmute you and we can talk for a bit if you'd like, or you don't have to. So while you're thinking about that, I'm going to read a few more of these. Amy wrote in, I have learned environment is a trigger. So I'm working one room at a time to make it peaceful. Love that, Amy. Absolutely love that. Yeah, that's what happens, right? It starts here and then it flows out. So if I start with, oh, wait, hold on, just got triggered. Hang on. It's okay. I can control this. I know. And we're going to go into the exact application and how you do that in just in a minute. So, Janelle, I haven't seen you say yes, put me on. So we're going to go ahead and move ahead. And if you want to next time, then that's great. And we'll bring you on live next time. Now, we're going to shift a little bit into perspective and understanding. Remember, we talked about those yuck berries? You see, hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. And so if I can remember in my mind, that person said something mean to me, not because of me, but because of the pain that they're in, then I can shift my perspective and ask, how can I help? Hurt people hurt people. And guess what? Healed people heal people. And so as I start to heal myself, I can help others heal themselves. That's what it's all about, healing and moving forward. So we're going to talk now. Here, grab your piece of paper. We're going to go through this. A write and burn is a great way. Now, some people call it write and shred. I call it write and burn because I love the burning part. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab your piece of paper. I'm actually going to share my whiteboard. You're going to grab your piece of paper. So let's say that this is your piece of paper. And there's a couple of things you can do. You can fold it in half or whatever, but you're going to draw a line right down the middle. I'm drawing with a mouse. Sorry, it's not exactly straight. Apologize. And then on this side, on the left side, because these are the things we want to leave behind, right? So left side, we're going to write our negative thoughts or emotions that are bothering us. So for example, you can do frustration, Frustration. Is that right? Frustration, anger, maybe embarrassment. Is it E or I? Embarrassment. I hope y'all know what I'm spelling. Yes, embarrassment. Okay, sorry, it must be our I got muted. Our trash truck was going by outside. I apologize.
No worries.
It happens, right? Okay, so embarrassment. I don't know if I spelled it right, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Frustration, anger, embarrassment, disappointment. Disappointments, sadness. If you're sad, there are many other emotions that I could go on and on. But what you're going to do is you're going to just write. Now, sometimes you'll just scribble. I know that so many times I've been so frustrated and so angry that you can't even read it. And I just scribble it all out and I just keep writing. Sometimes I even tear through the page. And you just keep writing and writing until you get to the end. And you may be saying, but Jeannie, I have so much, it's going to take pages and pages. Awesome. Start. Okay. Now, if you don't have time to do pages and pages, that's okay. Say, I'm going to do 1 page today. And then when you get to the bottom of the page, awesome. stop. And then you're going to tear this page off. So decide how much you're going to write. Now we're going to go into the action steps of this. Tear the page off. And then, well, wait, we need to decide how much you're going to write. You can set a timer. You can do a timer, or you can do by the pages. Or you can just say, you know what? I've got to get this all out. I need a full page and I just got to get this all out. Then you're going to tear it off and you're going to take it outside or, into the trash can or whatever, and you're going to burn it. Now, this is my favorite part. I love going out on my back porch, torching this and letting it go. Because there have been so many times I've been so frustrated and so angry that by the time I get this all written out, then all I have to do is let it go. And as that burns and goes away, I feel my emotion leave as well. It's gone. And I can't remember what it was that I was upset about. Then I'm going to take 4 deep breaths. And relax. I'm going to take 4 deep breaths and I'm going to relax. And then I'm going to come to the other side of my paper, or if it's another notebook, you can have different notebooks, another piece of paper, whatever. But now this side is gone. I don't have this anymore. And I have my piece of paper. Now I write positive thoughts. I write my gratitude for things, my Thanksgiving, what I'm grateful for, the things that I love, the powerful creating thoughts. So love, hope, kindness to myself as well as others. I write what I'm thankful for. I write about those things that I love and what I'm creating. So the things that I visualize or that I'm thinking about. Remember, we talked about creating the thoughts. And so I think about what I'm creating. Now, this side, I write so that I can read it. And so I'll start with maybe I love. Or I'll say, I'm so thankful. I'm writing with my mouse, so just a second. Right? I'm so thankful. ... Or I love ... And again, I either set a timer or I just go by the pages and I just write it. Now this side, I keep this side. And guess what? At the end of the week, I go back over it. You can keep it in a journal. You can keep it on your desk, whatever, and you read it daily. Now, you can read the whole list, or you can, just take part of it and read it. But every day you're feeding your mind marvelous things. So what I want to do is, are there any questions about this? Do you have any questions about how this goes? What I invite you to do is within the next 24 hours, teach this to someone. The reason I invite you to teach it to somebody is because then you will be able to remember it and do it. Remember, I said within 24 hours, for 7 days, review it, and for 10 minutes, and then you have 80% learning. So start doing this, and you will be absolutely amazed at the changes that you start to see. The next thing is the download reload. Now, download reload is if you're an active person and you need to burn the energy off. So download part is I go out my front door and I walk down the sidewalk and away from the house. And as long as I have the negativity, I call it crunchy. As long as I'm crunchy, I just spew it all out and I talk out loud and I just get it all out. Now, you may be thinking, what if people hear me? Well, you need to go somewhere where you can talk. You've got to verbalize it. It's got to come out of your mouth. If it just stays in your head, guess what? It stays in your head. You've got to get it out of you. Just like writing on the paper is bringing it out of your head and out of your heart and onto the paper, speaking it gets it out. Now, once you have got it all out, you'll just kind of feel at the end of it, when you've got it all out, you just kind of go, oh, you'll just kind of feel like maybe a balloon losing the air, and you'll just kind of deflate a little bit. You go, oh, wow. And then you're going to feel yourself stand up straighter and pull your shoulders back. Again, you're going to take those 4 deep breaths, and then you're going to turn around, and all the way back home, you reload. You reload with thankfulness and gratitude and the things that you love and the things that you care about all the way back home. That's download, reload. Then you have journaling. There's tons of different kinds of journals. You can have a body journal. I've had one of these for a while now, where I write about the things that I love about my body, my strong arms, my legs that take me up and down the sidewalk for walks on the hills, ride a bike, go snow skiing, water skiing. Or I also have a journal where I talk, that's total gratitude, love, and thankfulness for my family, my friends, my home, the food that I'm eating, my job. You choose, but journaling every day. And then self-care. We're going to talk about self-care. Self-care is something, sorry, just a second. So self-care is when you take care of yourself. Remember, we talked about, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Or saying to others as you would have done unto you, you need to do the same thing to you. So often we have our little cup and we pour it on everybody else and we give it to everybody else. And we keep trying to dump more and more out of an empty cup. We're wringing it out. We're giving it all. Guess what, my friends? You must stop and refill your cup. What is it that you love to do? Go ahead and put it in the chat. I love a good smelling candle. Oh, smells so good. So I light my candle and I just sit back, and I'll do this in my office when I feel myself starting to get tense. I'll light my candle and I'll lean back in my chair and I'll just smell it and I'll feel good. The other thing I like is good smelling lotion. This lotion is called 1,000 Wishes. Oh my gosh, how cool is that? And you take a little bit and you put it in the palm of your hand, and I spread it on my hands, and I smell it and I dream. And I just spend a few minutes dreaming about what I'm creating in my mind. 1,000 Wishes. I also have one that says, hello, beautiful. I also have one that says love and sunshine. Now this one, love and sunshine, my husband took me to Aruba for an anniversary trip a while back. And the really cool thing was that I had that lotion when I went to Aruba. And so every time I pull this out and I smell it, I'm right back in Aruba, hanging out with my husband, going scuba diving, enjoying the beach. And so we have over 1 trillion smell receptors. Our smell receptors are so powerful, and they can absolutely transport us. We have about 1 million tastes, but we have 1 trillion smell receptors. And so smells highly impact us. And now I also use doTERRA essential oils for that very reason of smell. Now you don't have to use doTERRA essential oils. That's just the kind I use. And one of the things that I absolutely love is this right here. It's the doTERRA emotional aromatherapy. and it has 6 oils, and they are called cheer, motivate, and passion, forgiveness, console, and peace. That's the name of them. I mean, couldn't we all use a little bit more of that? I'm just saying. So the reason the smell receptors are so important is because I have a nerve that goes straight into my limbic brain. Amy mentioned it earlier. My limbic brain is where my fight, flight, and freeze is stored. And so what happens is when I smell something, that's my first line of defense. And so it gets me ready to run away or beat somebody up or freeze so nobody can see me. So I need to make sure that I'm surrounding myself with smells that help me. This is passion, and this is whisper. I use this every morning in my meditation so I can hear my Heavenly Father stronger, because his voice is so still and so small that I need to amplify it, because sometimes I don't hear it. And we are going to go ahead, and I'm going to move forward just a little bit. I'm almost done. And we're going to have questions at the end. I want to remind you that the road to success is dotted with many tempting parking spaces. It's okay to pull in and rest, but it's not okay to stop. Keep going. Okay. Take a break, but then get going again. BHAG. Now this is your big, hairy, audacious goal. I got that from Darren Hardy. Your big hag, that big, huge thing that you want to accomplish is in jeopardy because of a lesser path to an easier path to a lesser defined goal. What happens is I have this idea and I want to make it big, but then I'm working for it and it's hard and I'm not sure where I'm going. Well, then I see an easier goal and I see the path clearly of how to get there. Many times I'm derailed from what I want to create. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's an exercise plan, maybe it's calling that big client that it would just be cool if I could get there. And I don't do it because it's easier to call the lesser one. So don't allow your big hag to be in jeopardy of a clearly defined path to a lesser goal. What you're going to do is close the gap between where you are and where you want to be by doing what you know you should. You know what you need to do. The problem is that you have just allowed those things to derail you. Maybe it was discipline that derailed you. Maybe it was the all or none thinking. Maybe it was so difficult that you tried too much when you started out. Maybe you need to step back just a little bit. I don't know. But what I'd like to do is invite you to reach out to me and join me. I would love to give you 30 minutes of my time free so that we can talk about these things in depth, whatever it is I can help you with. That's my gift to you. And Amy, thanks for having me here. I so appreciate it. I've loved being with you guys today. What questions do you have that I can answer? We can either unmute you or you can put it in the chat. And Janelle, if you want to come on, now's a good time. Because I know I didn't really make that clear earlier. I apologize.
I think she called in, so she was trying to make sure that she could get on audio, but I was going to share a real quick thought while we're waiting for questions. Oh, Janelle says, let's do it. Okay.
Yeah.
I just need you to push unmute. I can't unmute you, I don't think. Oh, wait, no, I can. I have that power. Give me 1 second. Okay, Janelle, you try. I'm not going to touch it. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Hey, Janelle, welcome. Welcome. How can I help you?
Hi, thank you. Well, first of all, I just want to say I really love everything you presented. It was very apt. It was everybody needs to know how to, reduce their emotional reactivity so we can get to where we want to go. I think it's really, really important, and it's such a practice. And I've been working on it for a while now, but it's never perfect. Sometimes we fall back into old, unhelpful habits. So, with everything that's going on, the pandemic, I'm a single parent, I'm an essential worker. There's just like so many things. It just seems like, maybe some of the normal stuff isn't working.
Yeah.
So if you had any, advice, that'd be great.
Absolutely. I cry every week. I schedule cry time. I have a playlist on my phone of songs that when my mother passed away, in fact, it was November 5th, 2016. I have some songs that
Hmm.
help me cry. When I was growing up, we were told, don't cry. You don't
Yeah.
cry, you're weak. Guess what? This is just crying is a great way to release. And so I'll tell my family because part of my children were grown, no emotion. The other part were going, hey, cry, it's good, it's okay. And so we're still working with that. So I just tell my family, hey, I'm going to go emote. I'm going to go emote for a while. I'm okay. I'm okay. I have a video called Tears that I would love to share with you. And so if you want to shoot me an email, I did put my email in the text. Shoot me an email that says, Jeannie, I'd love that video, Tears. And I talk about how tears are healing. Tears are allowing that emotion to come up
Yeah.
out of us. So it's okay to cry. The other thing, make sure you're doing that write and burn. Okay. It really does help.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you have
Definitely.
tried?
I mean, all those things that, just like you were saying, when I was growing up, we did not really express any emotions other than, happiness. It just wasn't like what you did. So we would just pretend everything's fine, which I think is really unhealthy. So I've been practicing, vulnerability and just being more open and even just honest with myself about my feelings. So I know you're right. Like it's just interesting because when you're integrating a new way of doing things into your life, it's just like, sometimes you forget you have these different options and it's okay to be, vulnerable and open and honest and cry.
And remember at the beginning when we were talking about make that decision, right? And so you've made the decision,
Hmm.
I'm going to emote more. I'm going to show emotion more. So you've made that decision.
Yeah.
Now all you've got to do is decide which action am I going to do? Am I going to do the write and burn? Am I going to do the download reload? Am I going to, use good smelling stuff and relax? Am I going to cry? And then
Yeah.
off your calendar, put an X. Every day you do that activity. It's absolutely okay to cry every day. Now, you may not need to cry every day for the rest of your life. I don't know how old you are, Janelle, but I'm 53. And if I was just now starting this, it may take me 6 months to get all the built up junk that I have stuffed down.
Right.
It's okay. It's okay. Or you're write and burn, or whatever it is that you want to do. Now, are you married?
No, I'm not.
Okay, that's okay. What I'm going to invite you to do is love you. Love you. Every day, love you. Now, I also have a playlist that's called Songs to Sing to Me. One of the songs that I've had on there for a long time is This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. You could just get that soundtrack and listen to that every day. And oh my gosh. But when that song, This Is Me, plays, I dance and I let my jiggles jiggle and I just
Yeah.
move and I love me. I invite you to love you every day. Release emotion and put the good in. That's what I invite.
Such a great reminder. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on live and getting to talk. I love that. I don't know how much more time do we have.
Yeah,
time
and emote in front of all these people.
I know. I know. You know what? You just built your courage muscle. Do you realize that? Courage is
Yeah.
a muscle. And if there's no fear, there's no courage. And so, baby girl, you just built some courage muscles. Celebrate, celebrate, do the Snoopy dance. I'm just saying.
Thank you so much.
I wish you'd have been my teacher in school. I feel like a lot of us might have come out a lot different. It's funny. My daughter was 7, and I had this amazing conversation with her school teacher because, you know, of all the things that he chose to discuss with us was he's like, I really want to focus on her confidence. She's great in all other aspects, like from an education standpoint, and I was like, yes, 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 yes. So when you find teachers and others around us that can pump you up, that can remind you to celebrate those small things like that, and want to encourage you to be more confident, I think that's just wonderful. And Danelle, you spoke for so many folks right now, so don't feel like you're alone. There's a lot of folks going through hard times right now. And by you speaking up and then others getting to hear Jeannie's response, like that answer was for more than just you. There's other women on here that benefited from those sentiments and from Jeannie's advice. So thank you for being brave and asking.
Yes.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for building your courage muscle. I just put a link to, you can get my book. I have a whole home study course online. It's called bullyproofingyourbook.com. It comes with videos, comes with a workbook, and I will autograph it to you and send it out. It comes from me personally. That's a gift I'd love to give you guys. It's just been phenomenal working with you today, and I would love to continue to help you in any way that I can.
Thank you so much, Jeannie. Thank you so much for giving your time, your energy, and all of your knowledge. You've got such a natural gift for what you're doing. Please keep doing it. We need more of it. Ladies, thanks for joining us today. Again, Jeannie put her information in there, so feel free to reach out to her anytime. But yeah, thank you so much, Jeannie.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. There's a couple comments. Don't leave yet, Jeannie. There's a couple of comments.
Okay.
There's an email for you in the chat, so make sure you grab that. Everyone have a great rest of your Friday. Rest and take care of yourselves.
Thank you.
Happy Friday.
Yeah.
Yes.
Friday.
Yay. 18 years, 1 month anniversary. We're going out tonight. I'm just saying.
Aw, happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. Have a great rest of your day, ladies. Take care.
Thanks. Bye-bye.